This is Chapter 2 of A Double-Barrel Detective Story. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. A Double-Barrel Detective Story by Mark Twain, Chapter 2. In 1886, a young woman was living in a modest house near a secluded New England village, with no company but a little boy about 5 years old. She did her own work, she discouraged acquaintanceships, and had none. The butcher, the baker, and the others that served her could tell the villagers nothing about her further than that her name was Stillman, and that she called the child Archy. Whence she came they had not been able to find out, but they said she talked like a Southerner. The child had no playmates and no comrade, and no teacher but the mother. She taught him diligently and intelligently, and was satisfied with the results, even a little proud of them. One day Archy said, "Mamma, am I different from other children?" "Well, I suppose not. Why?" "There was a child going along out there, and asked me if the postman had been by, and I said yes. And she said how long since I saw him, and I said I hadn't seen him at all. And she said how did I know he'd been by then, and I said because I smelt his track on the sidewalk, and she said I was a dumb fool and made a mouth at me. What did she do that for?" The young woman turned white, and said to herself, "It's a birthmark. The gift of the bloodhound is in him." She snatched the boy to her breast and hugged him passionately, saying, "God has appointed the way." Her eyes were burning with a fierce light, and her breath came short and quick with excitement. She said to herself, "The puzzle is solved now. Many a time it has been a mystery to me, the impossible things the child has done in the dark, but it is all clear to me now." She set him in his small chair, and said, "Wait a little till I come, dear, then we will talk about the matter." She went up to her room, and took from her dressing-table several small articles, and put them out of sight: a nail file on the floor under the bed, a pair of nail-scissors under the bureau, a small ivory paper-knife under the wardrobe. Then she returned and said, "There, I have left some things which I ought to have brought down." She named them, and said, "Run up and bring them, dear." The child hurried away on his errand, and was soon back again with the things. "Did you have any difficulty, dear?" "No, mamma, I only went where you went." During his absence she had stepped to the bookcase, taken several books from the bottom shelf, opened each, passed her hand over a page, noting its number in her memory, then restored them to their places. Now she said, "I have been doing something while you have been gone, Archy. Do you think you can find out what it was?" The boy went to the bookcase, and got out the books that had been touched, and opened them at the pages which had been stroked. The mother took him in her lap, and said, "I will answer your question now, dear. I have found out that in one way you are quite different from other people. You can see in the dark. You can smell what other people cannot. You have the talents of a bloodhound. They are good and valuable things to have, but you must keep the matter a secret. If people found it out, they would speak of you as an odd child, a strange child, and children would be disagreeable to you, and give you nicknames. In this world one must be like everybody else if he doesn't want to provoke scorn or envy or jealousy. It is a great and fine distinction which has been born to you, and I am glad. But you will keep it a secret, for mamma's sake, won't you?" The child promised, without understanding. All the rest of the day the mother's brain was busy with excited thinkings, with plans, projects, schemes, each and all of them uncanny, grim, and dark. Yet they lit up her face, lit it with a fell light of their own, lit it with vague fires of hell. She was in a fever of unrest. She could not sit, stand, read, sew. There was no relief for her but in movement. She tested her boy's gift in 20 ways, and kept saying to herself all the time, with her mind in the past, "He broke my father's heart, and night and day all these years I have tried, and all in vain, to think out a way to break his. I have found it now, I have found it now." When night fell, the demon of unrest still possessed her. She went on with her tests. With a candle she traversed the house from garret to cellar, hiding pins, needles, thimbles, spools, under pillows, under carpets, in cracks in the walls, under the coal in the bin, then sent the little fellow in the dark to find them, which he did, and was happy and proud when she praised him and smothered him with caresses. From this time forward life took on a new complexion for her. She said, "The future is secure. I can wait, and enjoy the waiting." The most of her lost interests revived. She took up music again, and languages, drawing, painting, and the other long-discarded delights of her maidenhood. She was happy once more, and felt again the zest of life. As the years drifted by she watched the development of her boy, and was contented with it. Not altogether, but nearly that. The soft side of his heart was larger than the other side of it. It was his only defect, in her eyes. But she considered that his love for her and worship of her made up for it. He was a good hater, that was well, but it was a question if the materials of his hatreds were of as tough and enduring a quality as those of his friendships, and that was not so well. The years drifted on. Archy was become a handsome, shapely, athletic youth, courteous, dignified, companionable, pleasant in his ways, and looking perhaps a trifle older than he was, which was 16. One evening his mother said she had something of grave importance to say to him, adding that he was old enough to hear it now, and old enough and possessed of character enough and stability enough to carry out a stern plan which she had been for years contriving and maturing. Then she told him her bitter story, in all its naked atrociousness. For a while the boy was paralyzed. Then he said, "I understand. We are Southerners, and by our custom and nature there is but one atonement. I will search him out and kill him." "Kill him? No. Death is release, emancipation. Death is a favor. Do I owe him favors? You must not hurt a hair of his head." The boy was lost in thought a while. Then he said, "You are all the world to me, and your desire is my law and my pleasure. Tell me what to do, and I will do it." The mother's eyes beamed with satisfaction, and she said, "You will go and find him. I have known his hiding-place for 11 years. It cost me 5 years and more of inquiry, and much money to locate it. He is a quartz miner in Colorado, and well-to-do. He lives in Denver. His name is Jacob Fuller. There, it is the first time I have spoken it since that unforgettable night. Think, that name could have been yours if I had not saved you that shame and furnished you a cleaner one. You will drive him from that place. You will hunt him down and drive him again, and yet again, and again and again, persistently, relentlessly, poisoning his life, filling it with mysterious terrors, loading it with weariness and misery, making him wish for death, and that he had a suicide's courage. You will make of him another wandering Jew. He shall know no rest any more, no peace of mind, no placid sleep. You shall shadow him, cling to him, persecute him, till you break his heart, as he broke my father's and mine." "I will obey, mother. I believe it, my child. The preparations are all made, everything is ready. Here is a letter of credit. Spend freely. There is no lack of money. At times you may need disguises. I have provided them, also some other conveniences." She took from the drawer of the typewriter table several squares of paper. They all bore these typewritten words: $10,000 reward. It is believed that a certain man who is wanted in an Eastern state is sojourning here. In 1880, in the night, he tied his young wife to a tree by the public road, cut her across the face with a cowhide, and made his dogs tear her clothes from her, leaving her naked. He left her there, and fled the country. A blood relative of hers has searched for him for 17 years. Address, Post Office. The above reward will be paid in cash to the person who will furnish the seeker, in a personal interview, the criminal's address. When you have found him and acquainted yourself with his scent, you will go in the night and placard one of these upon the building he occupies, and another one upon the post office or in some other prominent place. It will be the talk of the region. At first you must give him several days in which to force